Happy New Year! Welcome to the Companion of Discomfort. My name is, as usual, Michael, and now it's 2025. It's January, and that means it's Japanuary. So, what do you do in Japanuary? Usually, you consume Japanese stuff, movies, preferably. I don't know when other people started doing this. We did that in Germany quite a long time ago. Let me check when we did that for the first time. In 2018, maybe. Yeah, so quite some time ago. And at that time, it started, at least for us, like podcasters in Germany, from a little joke, like some people from the podcast Abspanngucker were like, hey, we don't know that much about Japanese movies, and then we ended up making a theme month. A human at that time, he was called Politik und Liebe. Now he's called something like Felix Langdon Alger or something. He was like, oh, let's call it Japanuary and do it in January. And I'm pretty sure we weren't the first people who had that idea, but at least in Germany, we basically started doing this every year. And I think in recent years, at least less podcasters actually participated, which is quite sad. So if you want to participate, that's cool. Just write stuff or speak to YouTube or make a podcast, or if you just write a letterbox review, that's cool. Or just some stuff on Twitter or whatever. Use the hashtag Japanuary. At that time we said, or at least the people who eventually made all rules and stuff, there was a great humans from Schöner Denken, decided 8 movies in January. I already watched 7 since 2 days ago, and I guess I will watch more. And for me here, in general, it won't change much, but just for fun, this month I will just label all videos that are somehow related to Japanese stuff, which basically are all videos, as will be labeled as Japanuary, even some stuff that I recorded before it just comes out now. There's still like 2 or 3 videos left that I did like last month or so. Will all just be labeled Japanuary because it's fun and it's good, and you should join and tell people to watch Japanese stuff because it's good stuff and it's a lot of fun. But today we're not gonna talk about movies too much. I will just give opinions to TV shows because they happened in the context of my New Year's laziness, and everything else will be in separate videos. So let's just talk a little bit about New Year in general. So I've been in Japan for quite some time, and sometimes my New Year is a little bit more typical, traditionally Japanese, and sometimes it's very lonely, just me sitting in front of my couch, watching TV and eating unhealthy stuff. In general, I always say New Year and Christmas is quite the opposite, like in Germany and in Japan. I don't know about your country, wherever you're from, but in Germany, like New Year is this New Year's Eve party, and on New Year's Day you have a hangover, and then it's basically over. Seemingly a lot of people died this year again or got injured because the fireworks go a little bit too crazy and stuff happens. It's weird. I don't really like it. So, but in Germany, Christmas is 3 days long. We have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and second Christmas Day, and basically all shops and stuff are closed. and people stay home. Maybe the family gathers and they eat and watch TV and relax. And that's a very quiet time. And yeah, in Japan, it's quite the opposite. Christmas, you go out with maybe your partner, you have a little party, you eat some cake and some chicken. Good marketing, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Congratulations. And yeah, New Year is the event where everybody gathers together and you eat and watch TV, and it's a very lazy, quiet time where nobody usually works. And yeah, so this year I didn't celebrate alone. I was lucky. So I went to another place and enjoyed a little bit more Japanese style New Year. It wasn't like the full program, but a little bit. So, for example, the New Year's Eve, we had a toshikoshi soba, I think it's called. So basically soba, so type of buckwheat noodles in some soup with some topping. Very popular is some tempura, but I got some, what I call it, like this square deep fried tofu thingy. That's usually on udon. I forgot the name. Who cares? It's a deep fried tofu. Very fluffy and nice. And yeah, with some kamaboko, like this white and pink colored half circle fish paste thing. And yeah, that's just not like that. And that's the traditional New Year's Eve dish. And on New Year's Day, then you usually have something that's called osechi, because you're not supposed to work on New Year. You're not supposed to cook on New Year. So you prepare, no? You have a lot of preparation for New Year. First you must clean the house, and then you must cook this grotesque food, which is basically lunch boxes full of a huge variety of dishes. So like small fishes in some, what is it, like soy sauce with sugar and something like caramel style, so very strange. I don't really like these things where you eat whole animals, like whole small fishes or squids or stuff. I'm not a fan of that, so I never tried that. Or yeah, you have a lot of black beans and shrimps. Datemaki, like a special type of rolled egg, which is super good. Kuri kinton, it's like a chestnut with some paste under it. I think sometimes it's made of chestnut, sometimes it's made of sweet potato. It's super good. And something like a lotus root, and all these different dishes that all have some meaning, someone told me, because the shrimp is like this shape, basically like old people. So it means you have a long life if you eat them, yeah, until you turn to the shrimp. And I think with the lotus root you can see a good future or something through the holes. Stuff like that. I'm not an expert. That's what people explained to me. It can be totally wrong. But yeah, so usually you would eat that, but making it is very, very annoying. It takes a lot of time, and buying it is really expensive, so we didn't do that. So we made some, I don't know what the Korean name is. The real Korean name in Japan is called a shijimi. It's basically like pancakes with vegetables inside, and usually put some spicy sauce on top. It's super, super good. And then we had that on New Year's Eve for lunch, and dinner the toshikoshi soba. And New Year's Day, we just had some kurikinton. We had some German Kartoffelpuffer or Reibekuchen. I don't know if there's an English word for that. It's basically grated potato with some egg In my recipe, it said flour. My mother has never ever used flour to make these. And some onion, and then you just fry and a little like salt if you like some pepper as well. But yeah, very simple dish, super good. So we made that with some nice cheese sausages and some chicken nuggets because they were there. Why not? Easy cooking, very nice. So that was that. And what else? We ate so much trash. It was horrible and grotesque. Yeah, I think we ate more soup. Yeah, we had some soup that was basically kelp and egg in some fish soup. And yeah, of course, for New Year you have to eat the ozoni, which is a special New Year's soup. And depending on the place in Japan, there are a lot of different types of soup. For example, 2 years ago, I tried the Kagawa version, which is basically white miso with some vegetables, maybe some chicken, and a mochi, so rice cake inside. So the rice cake is very typical for all these soups, and is one thing that kills a lot of elderly people because it's quite sticky, and if you're too greedy and try to swallow it too quickly without chewing properly, it gets stuck in your throat and you might die. It's really dangerous but delicious. Anyway, in this Kagawa version of the soup, you have some anko, so red beans inside, so sweet and savory. Many people hate that combination. I'm not sure why. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. But yeah, we didn't make that. We ate the Kumamoto version, which is a clear soup with some vegetables. I think what are they called? A taro. Sato imo in Japanese, so all imos are some kind of potato or yam or something like that. I think this one is called taro in English. Then we had some carrots and some gobo, that's a great burdock, and yeah, some stuff like that, some chicken. And the funky thing about the Kumamoto style ozoni is that you make the soup from dried squid. So with the dried squid, we cut it into like stripes or something, and first we had a gas oven, so we just burned it a little bit in the flame and then threw it into the soup. It's very good. Smells pretty bad in the beginning, but the taste is really nice, so that's good. So just too much eating then. Very cute. We had some German Christmas sweets that I got from my mother, and all good stuff. But what I didn't know, I think we didn't have that when I left Germany, is that you have a nutrition score from A to E. So A is very healthy and E is pretty good. And the first thing that I ate from this pack that my mother gave me were some almonds with sugar coating, and they were just D, but everything else we just had for New Year was all E, like really, really dangerous stuff. So it was just 3 days of sitting, eating, and not moving all that much. So the problem was the sitting, because then we have the kotatsu. If you don't know what a kotatsu is, there's a table with a second like a plate on top, and sandwiched in the middle is like a really thick blanket, and underneath the table is a little heater. So if you put your legs under this table, they get all like warm and comfy and itchy, and it's really, really nice, but really, really dangerous, because it will get harder and harder to get out of there. Because first you're sitting on the floor with your legs straight, and maybe you just fall down, and first you will fall asleep, and second, the longer you stay in there, the less, especially if you slip deeper into the thing, it will be harder to get out because you can't lift your legs, because then you hit the heater and you might burn your legs, and then you must just slide back, and it's really annoying to get out, and you just don't want it because like Japanese houses don't have much insulation, so you have to keep yourself warm somehow, because inside the apartment it won't be all that warm. So yeah, you just don't want to get out of that. It's very comfortable. The chances are high that you just fall asleep. Funnily enough, there are special pillows that are basically like this and this, so you can put your hands inside and put your head on there. So yeah, special kotatsu sleeping pillows, or not just kotatsu, but generally if you want to sleep on a table. Very comfortable, very nice, but yeah, it's very dangerous because you will never ever get back out of this hell. It's lovely, I want it here, but my room that I rented was completely furnished, so I don't really have place for more furniture. I'm a little bit sad. Yeah, but a great invention for houses that don't have insulation. In Germany, we don't really need it because the houses have good insulation and it's nice and comfy inside. And yeah, but good, very nice. So the only thing that got us out of the house is that traditionally you go to the shrine. Some people go in the evening, so they are there for midnight. So just when the new year starts, they can go and pray, and there's always a bell that's being rung. And yeah, we went there, we prayed, we got the omikuji. So this one is not that great. It's a little bit lucky. It basically says stuff like, don't rush, be patient, good things will come. And funnily enough, another like horoscope from the newspaper told me that my lucky time this year will start in June or July, like around that time. So be patient, don't hurry. And we got this. This is called a goshuin, and yeah, you can get them at any shrine. So usually, traditionally, you will get a thing like this, and the people at the shrine, the priests at the shrine, will just let me see. They will write it fresh into your little book, and it's super cool. But nowadays, very often you have these pre-printed or somehow prepared things that you buy. For me this time it was very useful because I forgot my little book. I forgot the name of the book too. So I didn't really have anything to write into, but here's another one that's pretty cool. So I was quite happy that I could just buy this and take it home, and later I can put it in there. But yeah, it's basically the traditional, very traditional Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. So yeah, I think yeah, this one here, this here is from the local Tooth Shrine in Osaka, and I think this tooth kanji here is really, really cool. So yeah, it's a cute little hobby. If you travel, it's very nice to just bring it with you, and if you find a shrine, you just go there and get some stuff. So I think it's very sad that very often nowadays they don't write them. One reason is yeah, many people come and want them, so you need a lot of people to write them, but they don't have many people to write them because most of the stuff can't really do it, and there's not that much stuff anyway, because very few people actually want to work at a shrine. And yeah, here's another one. So I think that's really cool. Here I bought this in Onomichi, and I made a mistake writing the date because I didn't write it in kanji, but it's still very cool. This is from a place where Obayashi filmed his movie Tenkosei. And yeah, it's yeah, like I said, a nice little hobby that doesn't cost much money and makes every trip a little bit more interesting. So I highly recommend, if you travel Japan, you can usually buy these. Here, this is from the Genji Monogatari, I think. Yeah, so you can buy these books at any shrine, or at least at the bigger shrines, or maybe some normal like shops for stationery. They will have some too, maybe. Yeah, anyway, just get one and go to the shrine and say, hey, go Shuin, please. And they will write something, give you a stamp and stuff. Like I said, it's basically the traditional Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. And yeah, it's cool. So we did that. We prayed, we got the omikuji, the fortune, and went back home to the table hell, and that's basically it. Besides that, we just watched a lot of TV, and I think New Year's basically the time where I watch actual like TV program. I'm not the biggest fan of Japanese TV. Sometimes it's very amusing, but I never really found out what programs I actually want to watch. Because usually if I turn on the TV, there will be some show about eating. And that's usually not all that exciting. So, I don't know. Someday maybe I will find some good variety show, comedy shows that I actually enjoy watching, and will keep watching it, and it will help to improve my Japanese. But usually New Year has three things that I know. No, four things that should be watched by people. And one I don't really care about is a marathon, university students marathon. We watched a little bit, and I don't care about people running, so for me it's not all that exciting. And then for New Year's Eve, there are two programs that people usually choose. One is a comedy program, I think a few years ago, that changed. So now there's something else, comedy, but yeah, I don't really. I think Manzai, the traditional like duo comedy stuff, is very difficult for me to understand, because I like a lot of word plays and dad jokes and stuff like that. And it's very difficult to understand, especially if you don't really focus too much on it. So I wanted to watch that because it sounds by default more exciting than the other one, but I ended up always watching the other one, and that's Kohaku. And many people compare to the Eurovision Song Contest. It's yeah, basically the end of the year, New Year's, end of the year, New Year, what was that? Or the end of the year music battle. Like a lot of artists that are popular show up, sing the songs, and then you can choose red or white. I think white are the guys and red are the ladies. And usually the ladies lose because there's so many Johnny's idol groups that just have too many fans. Recently, Johnny's isn't anymore. The whole company's in big trouble because, yeah, people finally acknowledge the fact that the boss likes the little boys a little bit too much. Not anymore because he's dead, but at times he did some nasty stuff to them. And yeah, so I always thought everybody knows that, because that was one of the first things I learned about Japan when I came here, like for the first time in 2009 or so. I learned about the Johnny's idols, and then I learned that if you want to have success in this company, you better like the Johnny. And yeah. Anyway, so these, because of the scandal that emerged some time ago, they're not on TV that much anymore. So some people believe now the ladies have a better chance, but I already forgot who won. Maybe they won. I don't know. Maybe the guys won. I have no idea. I don't remember. But that's the concept. You can. There's 3 categories. There's a jury. There's a people and something else. I don't really care about the concept. It's just nice to watch because it's easy, silly TV program. The music isn't even all that bad. You have a lot of silly costumes and all that stuff. You get a little glimpse into what was popular that year. In pop culture, you get some nice anchor, so more traditional old people's music, and it's good stupid entertainment that doesn't challenge you too much and doesn't challenge my language skills all too much, even though I'm just constantly eating and drinking and don't pay much attention. So that's one of the big problems. It always goes 4 or 5 hours or something. I don't know. It's really long. And then the other one is I forgot the title. Genojin Kaku La 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 Cheku. And it's a really, really stupid TV program where some celebrities come together and then maybe they have to check 2 kinds of wine, an expensive wine and a cheap wine, and then they have to say which one is the expensive one, which one is the cheap one, and if you make a mistake, your team gets downgraded. So at first they all have very comfortable chairs and nice slippers, and then they get more uncomfortable and bad slippers or worse slippers and stuff. It's, by the way, the Genojin Kakuzuke check. So yeah, it's really, really stupid. The star of the show is always Gact. If you don't know Gact, probably you don't care much about Japanese music or something. He was a really, really, really huge singer some time ago. I think nowadays he's more of a just celebrity, doing commercials and stuff. I don't even know when he released actual music last. So yeah, but interesting guy, and he's now very famous for living in Malaysia and being really rich and making commercials for plastic surgery and all these things. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, his last album came out in 2016. So yeah, quite some time ago. Anyway, so he's the star of the show. He's always there, and he has a streak that he's never wrong about anything. And yeah, this time he got paired with Daigo. I think when I heard about Daigo the first time, he was called a Daigo Stardust, and was another very silly singer. And now he's took a similar career as Gacta, just doing other stuff. For example, he made a cookbook, and then he fails at all the cooking challenges in this show. And then the singer of a Golden Bomber, I forgot the name of him, but he's a really, really crazy, silly dude, and very entertaining. So yeah, good team, because these two are just made to fail, while Gakt is the guy who never fails, and the other teams are usually maybe boy or girl groups, or maybe 2 actors from a movie that just needs some promotion or stuff, like some teams with 2 to 5 people. and they always have very similar things to check. Like I said, maybe wine, or this time they had a string orchestra. Or orchestra sounds a little too big, but like a group of string instrument players, and they had to hear the difference between very cheap instruments and super expensive instruments and all these things. They had to check a real ikebana and ikebana made of sweets. Looked very, very similar. All these things they had to rate no performances, so traditional theater performances. And last year, the big thing that happened on the show was that they had to check a chahan, so fried rice with some other stuff in there. And last year they had that's 3 types of chahan. One was made by a normal chef, one was made by a Michelin star chef, and one was made by the host of the show, Mr. Hamada, who is one of the most famous comedians in Japan. And most of the people at that time, like last year, they voted for Hamada's chahan, and it was very funny. So this year you can actually buy it at 7-Eleven and some other stuff. There was ebi chili, so shrimps in chili sauce, and a gyoza, like these dumplings. And this year they had these 3 dishes they had to rate. Same constellation: a Michelin star chef, a normal chef, and Mr. Hamada. And if you vote for Hamada, you would get downgraded 2 levels, not just 1. So pretty funny, like that they kept this going this time. Most people got it right, and not very many people fell for Mr. Hamada's food. But later they completely failed when it was the challenge was to check the meat in shabu shabu. Shabu shabu is kind of hot pot, like boiled meat. And here they had very high quality Japanese meat, some normal supermarket meat from wherever, and some kangaroo meat. And Daigo and the Golden Bomber dude completely failed and voted for the kangaroo meat, which led to the deletion of Gakt and his teams, and they were switched to half-naked, chubby dudes who dance and do strange stuff while we could still hear their voices. It's a very, very silly, stupid game show, but like once a year I enjoy watching this. If this was a weekly thing, I would be so annoyed and bored by it, but once a year it's pretty good, pretty fun. It's, again, super long, like 4 hours or something like that. And it's good fun. It's a good time to watch TV. And in between some other stuff, we watched mostly travel programs. Interestingly, a lot of traveling by train programs. For example, there was one where one person traveled through Asia, in this episode through Thailand, I think, with night trains only, and basically spent the day at some place and night on the train and trying food and telling us how great it is. Pretty nice. We saw one program about a baseball player who went to the US and how amazing America is, and what great food they get. And they had this really huge barbecue, like for the athletes to get some high quality meat. And I just thought, like, how much of that meat gets thrown away because they don't eat it in the end. And I was maybe too much, too crazy. I don't know. America is a strange country. I don't get it. Anyway, one other fun thing that we watched was a similar train travel program where they traveled from Norway to the Alps in that episode, and they actually passed by very near my hometown in Germany, going to a mountain where I just went in April, and suddenly next to me someone said, "Yeah, we went there." Yes, that's true. Very nice. So yeah, a lot of travel programs on TV, a lot of eating programs, a lot of silly comedy. So it's good fun. It's something you can do once a year. Just degenerate by heat and eat and watch TV. Two other things that we watched at the end. We watched the first 3 episodes of Dandadan, and I liked it very much. I have to watch more, because so far I think it's very good. Of course, Science Saru make amazing animation. The story is very fun. The characters are very fun. The whole setup is very fun. Like this guy who believes in aliens and the girls who believes in ghosts. And they try to convince the other one that they are right, and they get in a lot of trouble. It's pretty cool, but I think for the extreme hype that it got, needs to get better. So I need to watch more. So I think it's totally possible that it will get to these extreme heights that it needs to get to make the whole hype believable. But I'm not that. It's very, very good, but I'm not at the super crazy hype yet. The other thing that we watched was a Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, like this Netflix CG Gundam series that's only 6 episodes long, so in like 3 hours you can watch the whole thing. And it's not very good. It's okay, it's fine, it's okay to watch once. And the whole setup is set before the original Gundam series. I'm not a Gundam expert, so if I say something silly, please don't kill me. There's a story that's called A 1 Year War, if I'm correct, and somewhere near that story this is set. So the story is from the perspective of Zeon, and if we remember the original Gundam, which I have actually watched, Zeon are pretty much space Nazis, like with the uniforms and the whole style and the salute and everything, and they say something like what is Sieg Zeon or something. So it's really, really obviously space Nazis, very evil, very bad, and we are on their side in this story, and they're like amazing heroes who fight for justice. And I think it's totally legit to be like, okay, we show the other side and we show that they believe to be on the right side and they believe to be the good guys in the story, but maybe they aren't. But they don't do the they aren't stuff. They just stick to, they are heroes, they are amazing, and they fight for justice, while the other side, tiny spoiler, is just evil. The Gundam is presented as like a creature straight from hell with burning red eyes, and it's just the devil itself, basically, that brings death and destruction. And at the end, so a little more spoiler, they show that the pilot of that Gundam is a child who's not evil, and the conclusion could be that, hey, even the animal has some humans, but they twist it in a way that they, oh my god, they're even more evil than we thought, because they send kids to war, which is obviously a little wink at the original show, where there are quite a lot of kids going to war, which makes sense if you think about the target group, and there's basically a kids show that's not so much for kids, but you need some kid protagonists or something, so it makes sense that it was made in that way. But here it's like, oh, they are so evil and we hate them and we are the good ones, and I think that's a little bit strange and problematic to be like, hey, the space Nazis are the good ones and the others are evil, and not even hinting that there might be a little bit more depth to it, which is usually the strong point of all Gundam series that I know, that they actually show both sides and make them believable and say, okay, if we accept their point of view, it makes sense that they do these horrible things. And here it's just like, nope, this side is good, this side is bad. And I'm pretty sure the writer, who usually writes stuff like Transformers and the Ninja Turtles, which is not bad, but not really deep stuff as far as I know. I can be wrong here. He probably felt super, super smart, just being like, yeah, let's turn it around. Let's make the good guys the bad guys. And yeah, but without any nuance or any depths, just like really, really stupid Nazis are good. And yeah, cool if that's what you want to do, but yeah, it's a little too simple, a little too stupid. The animation is so extremely uneven. Like when it comes to the robots, it looks quite good. In everything else, it looks like, yeah, cutscenes from a video game. Sometimes it's not, the animation isn't even smooth like liquids, and smoke or steam sometimes have slowdowns. I don't know. It's not like smooth animation. What's wrong there? What's wrong with it? It just doesn't really look good. The whole like animation of the humans is already not very real or believable. The fact that we watched it in Japanese dub doesn't help, because the mouth movement doesn't match the spoken word too well, so it made this impression much worse. I guess the original language of the show is English, but still, it's not really good. It's okay. Yeah, but it smells a lot of like America, fuck yeah, or in this case, space Nazis, fuck yeah. So not a fan. Watch it once, don't need to watch it again. Yeah, and with this note, we will go into the fun stuff of the Japanuary, not in this video, in another video. But yeah, Japanuary, very fun, very good. Watch stuff, be part of it, and yeah, tell everyone to watch good Japanese movies or anime, or read a book. There are good Japanese books out there. I don't read all that much. I should read more, but yeah, just consume Japanese stuff. Maybe some music. Listen to some music and have fun. It's Japanuary. Japanuary is a good time, and you should have a good time. And yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice Japanuary. Have a happy New Year, even though it's already a few days old. And see you soon. Bye.